Hero Factory was released in 2010. It's LEGO's follow-up to Bionicle. They made a few Bionicle movies, and now they were like, you know what? Let's make a TV show with these new Hero Factory characters. I loved Hero Factory as a kid. I lived it. I breathed it. It was the only thing I could think about during school. And don't believe me? Here's a picture of me with Preston Stormer at Legoland. That's right, I met him. So he's a good friend of mine. Sorry to interrupt, but I finally found it. When I was 10 years old at Legoland, not only did I take a picture with Stormer, I got a picture as Stormer. This is me, 10 years old, character artist's rendition if I was Preston Stormer from Lego Hero Factory. I love Lego Hero Factory. And now I'm going to give you a recap of the entire 11-episode series that the Lego company released side by side with their toys in order to sell them. So the first 4 episodes all released back to back, and they were bundled together later on as a movie titled Rise of the Rookies. So this is episodes 1 through 4. Episode 1, Trial of Furno. We start with this guy, Preston Stormer. He's one of our main guys. You're going to want to remember his name. He's on a mission with 3 other heroes. We got, oh my god. And he is on a mission with 3 other heroes. We have Bulk. And, nope. And Stringer. So the 3 of them are on a mission, but there's a 4th one. They're training a rookie named Furno. This Furno is going to be our main character throughout the series. Sort of. You'll see why in it. So there he is. I made him nice and big. He's red, so we know he's the main character. But Furno's the rookie. The 4 of them are on a mission to stop 2 villains from stealing some sort of explosives or something. And of course, those villains have to be named Explode with an X. And Rotor. He's named Rotor because he flies. And so an epic fight scene ensues, but Furno is like, I want to get in there. And Stormer is like, no, you have to stay in the ship because you're a rookie. But he's like, but I need the training. And he's like, it's not safe, rookie. You got to stay down, or you got to stay up there in the ship. That's the dynamic. Stormer is the leader of the team, and he's given orders to everyone else. If you're a fan of Hero Factory, you might be noticing that the suits that I'm using and the pictures are different from the ones in the episode. I just chose a picture that resembles them the clearest, up close, and the best. So they're fighting, it's a whole thing, and then we cut back to Hero Factory HQ, where we see Zib. He's sort of like the mission control guy who gives the heroes all their missions. We'll put him over here. He's voiced by none other than Henry Winkler. There's only 3 celebrity voice actors in this, and he's one of them. And he's in every episode. Henry Winkler really put in the hours here. Zib is assisted by his assistant, Quaddle. He's a little robot that has 4 arms, and he doesn't talk. He just makes robot noises. He's really only there for comedic relief, and to shrug and stuff and have funny reactions. So the 2 of them are there in Mission Control. They're talking back and forth about the fight. And also back at Mission Control, we have 2 other rookies. We have Surge. He's blue. And Breeze. She's green. You might notice that I use the pronoun she because Breeze is a girl, and that's her personality trait. She's one of 2 talking female characters in this entire series. So yeah, they're the 2 other rookies. They're hoping Furno does well. But he's not. He's still sitting in the back lines. They fight. So these 3 finally beat them in a fight. And Stormer's like, okay, Furno, you can finally come down from the ship, and your job is to put handcuffs on Rotor. And Furno's like, yes, finally some action. So he hops down from the ship, and then he gets in a little tussle with Rotor, and he's not able to put handcuffs on Rotor. And since he can fly, Rotor flies away, and Furno let Rotor escape because, yeah, he's a rookie. So then everyone goes back to HQ, and Furno is beating himself up about letting Rotor go. And so guess what? He trains 24/7, so much so that he has to recharge. Now's a good spot to talk about the lore behind everything that's going on so far. You might be wondering. So these heroes are made in a hero factory. They are constructed and built and designed by none other than the creator of Hero Factory himself, Mr. Makaro. I'll put him next to Zib. So Mr. Makaro created all these heroes, and the heroes are different from other robots in this universe because they have a quasi core. Quasi is like a very rare mineral or element or something like that gives them their power and also gives them their personalities. So if you were to have a quasi-core transplant, then you would also lose your personality. As for all the other robots in the universe, like Zib and Quaddle, it's not explained where they came from or how they were built. There is no natural life in this universe besides like plants, I think. So where all these robots come from, I don't know. They make a joke about like not having a mom, but if moms didn't exist, how do they know what moms are? So every time a hero expends energy in a fight and gets really tired, that means his core is draining and he needs to go recharge his core. So Furno's recharging his core because he's been training all day and night. He feels so bad about it. And then Zib is like, last time a hero trained so hard that he had to recharge was when you were a rookie, Stormer, and sees like the little parallel going on there. And eventually Furno's like, I'm ready, I'm all trained up, I've been training for days and nights, I'm ready to take on Rotor again. Good news for him because, they do another attack or whatever for plot conveniences. Furno comes in and he learns from his mistakes of the past, and he's able to handcuff Rotor and put him in custody, along with Explode, too. Yeah, so yay, our heroes won the day in episode 1. Episode 2 is called Core Crisis, and it starts with Zib getting a call from the hero hotline. And someone's like, help, a bad guy is attacking this prison that is under construction. So this bad guy doesn't want this prison to get built because obviously he'll be put in it. And Zib is like, oh no, the only heroes close enough are this team. Bulk, Stringer, and a Surge. It does get confusing because there are characters named Surge, Stringer, and Stormer, but you'll catch along, I promise. So these three are the only ones close enough to fight off the villain. Who's the villain? Glad you asked. They are fighting the villain Corroder. As you may have guessed, he has the power to corrode, like steel and stuff. So that's why he's attacking this construction site, because he can corrode all the metal. And so they're fighting. Corroder is able to trap Bulk under a pile of galvanized square steel. And then they can't get him out from under. And so they have to use their hero core, aka their quasi-core, to put up a force field. Now, this force field will protect them from Corroder, but it drains their core really fast. So they're going to need some backup from HQ. But here's the thing, if you remember last episode during the this fight, Stormer's core hasn't been recharged yet from the episode 1 fight. But you know whose core has been recharged? Furno's. So he's ready to go get back in there. But before he goes, Zib is like, hold on, let me give you an upgrade real quick. And Furno gets acid-resistant armor, so he's able to fight Corroder. So Stormer comes, whoops on Corroder, and eventually beats Corroder, saves the day. They can put down the force field and save Bulk from the galvanized square steel. They don't catch Corroder. He still escapes, but Furno is able to fight him off so he doesn't attack the construction site. And this makes Stormer warm up to Furno a little bit, be like, the kid's got some juice in him. He's pretty good. So that's episode 2. Pretty short and sweet little fight there. Let's move on to episode 3. Episode 3 is called The Enemy Within. It starts with Stormer and Furno getting a call from Mechron City from the police chief. And so they go over there, but the police station is empty, and they find the police chief, and it turns out the police chief has turned evil. Uh-oh. And who's behind this? None other than Meltdown. I couldn't find a picture of him, like a good picture of him from the TV show, so I have to use this like Lego like toy set image. So yeah, let's put him over here. Meltdown does not just spray you with like nuclear radiation. No, but he's able to, like, once he sprays you, he like infects you with nanobots, which turn you evil. And guess what? That's what he did to the police chief, and now he did it to Stormer. Stormer gets hit, but why does he get hit? Because he jumps in front of the blast, protecting Furno. So the two of them have a bond going, but that's not going to stop him from still becoming evil. So they return to HQ, and Stormer's like, "You guys need to lock me away. You don't want to see me when I'm evil." And but they're like, "No, Stormer, you would never turn on us." But he's like, "Guys, I literally just got hit with a blast that turns me evil. Please believe me." But it's too late, and he turns evil before they can lock him up. So Furno has to go off, and he runs away, by the way. He turns evil and flees the Hero Factory. And Stormer chases after him, trying to find his location, while everyone else goes on a different planet which contains a material or like mineral or some rock or something that will cure Stormer. They like figured out the cure. And so they're on another planet, and then they find like this big like monster. Also, all the animals in this world are also robots. But again, it doesn't get explained on what makes someone an animal versus what makes someone like a sentient robot. But they do find it a big like sandworm, like from Dune sort of thing. And they're like, we're gonna have to fight this. Meanwhile, Furno finds Stormer in front of a billboard with Stormer's face on it, because earlier in the episode, Stormer was like, "I want to rip that thing down." And so he goes, and Furno has a little "this isn't you" talk with him. And he's sort of getting to Stormer through this talk, and he mentions a name, Von Ness. Von Ness has actually been mentioned earlier in the earlier episodes, but I'm deciding to bring it up now. Von Ness was a rookie when Stormer was a rookie, and they were rookies together, but a mission went bad, and Von Ness turned evil. And so he's like, "You don't want to be like Von Ness, like, stay with me." And through this motivational talk, Stormer finally gives himself in, and he returns to the Hero Factory, where our other good guys have returned with the substance that will cure him. But then they're like, "Wait, how did you guys defeat the sandworm?" It turns out Breeze can talk to animals. That's just one of her powers, I guess, because she's green and a girl, I guess, so she doesn't fight. She talks her way through problems. And so, yeah, Stormer's cured. They have a little bonding moment. End of episode 3. Pretty cute. Also, like, they never catch Meltdown. I think he's just, like, gone. Episode 4. Now, this is the end of the first 4 episodes that were packaged together of the movie. So this is sort of the climax of the movie, you could say. And so we start off with our heroes. Actually, let's put Furno back over there. Our heroes, our main, like, alpha team, which is Stormer, Stringer, and Bulk. They go to New Stellic City, I believe. Is that what it's called? Yes. And this is the city where the mission went wrong when Stormer was a rookie with Von Ness. And we do get a little flashback of that scene later in the episode, but I'm just going to give it to you now. So Stormer was on a mission with another rookie, Von Ness, and their main hero, who was kind of teaching them. His name is Thresher. So the two of them are on a mission in New Stellic City. What's the mission? They have to defeat this huge evil drone. It's just referred to as drone. It's like, taller than buildings, and it's literally just a Thresher and 2 rookies have to defeat this drone. But the drone, the drone wounds Thresher. So Thresher's on the ground. He needs medical attention. And Von Ness is like, "We need to retreat and get Thresher some medical attention. And Stormer's like, no, we need to work together and stop the drone before it can hurt more people. And here's this sort of conflict where Stormer's like, fine, I'll go fight the drone myself. And Stormer goes off to fight the drone. Meanwhile, Von Ness gets in the ship and tries to escape. And Stormer's like, hey, what are you doing? Thresher isn't even on the ship. Von Ness is just escaping for himself at this point. And Stormer's like, hey, what are you doing? You're abandoning the mission. So Stormer like hops up on the jet, and he like jumps off the jet and lands on the drone and is able to single-handedly defeat the drone. And he goes down as a hero, while Von Ness goes down as an abandoner. And we don't see Von Ness ever again until this episode. So Corroder comes back with a few other villains that are really inconsequential, so I didn't print out their pictures. So they're all fighting the villains, and a big black hole opens in the sky, and they're like, we're gonna need some backup. So, you know, who's left for backup? It's the team of rookies, Furno, Surge, and Breeze. And so the rookies come, and we're like, hey, we're here to help. And so they split up into teams. We have the alpha team and the rookie team. But, the rookie team needs a team leader. And so Stormer's like, who do you elect to be your team leader? And everyone's like, Furno, we want Furno to be the team leader. And so he's like, okay, guys, stop it. Okay, I'll be the team leader. And so they fight the villains, but eventually the black hole is going to suck up the city, and they need to stop it. So Stormer's like, everyone else stay back. I'm going to jump in this black hole and stop it. And Furno's like, you know what? I'm going to do the same thing. Stormer and Furno both jump into the black hole, and guess who's inside the black hole controlling everything? It's Von Ness. But he no longer goes by the name Von Ness. He goes by the name Von Nebula. And he looks like a villain now, because he is one. And yeah, Von Nebula has a staff that can like create black holes. So obviously you're going to want to stop him. He wants to get his revenge on Stormer for making him look like a bad guy. And guess what? Von Nebula is voiced none other by Mark Hamill. Second celebrity voice here, so Mark Hamill's now in this. But from earlier in the episode, you see that our heroes are like practicing with like some anti-gravity boots or something, and so they're like, wait, if we throw our boots into the black hole, and then it's anti-gravity, and therefore all the science will make it stop the black hole. Both of them are mathematical geniuses with the language they're using in this episode.
The vortex is pulling us in, like a gravitational force. So the rings should act as a centrifugal force going the other way.
So they're like, if we just throw our anti-gravity stuff down the black hole, it should reverse everything and stop the black hole. And so they're like, hey, Von Nebula, guess which one of us has the anti-gravity thing that can stop your black hole? And Von Nebula's like, well, Stormer always needs to be the hero. He wants to be in the spotlight. So I'm going to guess that it's him. And he's wrong, because it's Furno, because Stormer gave up his ego to let Furno save the day. And he does. The black hole closes, and Von Nebula gets sucked into his staff. And then so they take the staff back to the hero factory, put it in safekeeping, but we see a little electricity come out from it and like kill a fly. So he's still in there somewhere, and he might return one day. So that is the end of the 4-episode arc that is Rise of the Rookies. Everything else from here is going to be way more disjointed. Episode 5 is titled Ordeal of Fire, and it came out 7 months after the original 4 episodes. So the original 4 episodes came out in September of 2010, and now we are in April of 2011. And here's how the episode starts. Mr. Makaro announces to the whole city that there are 2 new heroes. Nex and Evo. What cool modern names they have. Nex and Evo. And there, reporting live from the scene, is Daniela Capricorn. She's like the head news reporter in all these episodes. She gives us the lowdown. Oh my god. She's also voiced by a celebrity, but it took me an embarrassingly long amount of time to figure out who she was voiced by. And so when we get to the episode, I realize who it is. I'll tell you who it is. But yeah, she's there on the scene reporting coverage of 2 new heroes that have been made. Remember, like, he creates them. Like, he just, like, gives life. So we have Nex and Evo. But meanwhile, Stormer and the rookies are on a mission on a different planet to stop a bad guy named Firelord. Firelord is assisted by 3 other villains, Drill Dozer, Jetbug, and the third one. Again, they're insignificant, so I didn't print out their pictures. So it would just take up too much space. But Firelord's the main one. They want to steal fuel from, like, this oil rig or something. And so they're all fighting. But then they're like, guys, we can't do this. We're weak. Again, remember, there's 3 other villains, so it's a 4v4, and they're losing pretty hard. So they're like, guys, we need to retreat and get out of here. But they can't because they're, like, stuck and surrounded by villains. That's when Surge is like, guys, I'm going to sacrifice myself so you guys can escape and go ahead. So he does. Surge gives himself up, and he's taken prisoner by Firelord and the other villains while the rest of our heroes escape. They go back to HQ, and they're like, Zib, that was really hard. Can you give us some upgrades? And Zib's like, yeah, I got you. And so they get new upgrades, which means Lego Company can sell more toys now. Basically, from every episode from here on out, these heroes will get upgrades, which makes them look drastically different. So then Lego can sell more toys of the new versions of themselves. So they get upgrades, and they're like, guys, we're ready to get back into the field and stop Firelord. And save Surge, of course. So they track Firelord down. They show up with their new upgrades, ready to fight. But they haven't had that much training with the new upgrades. So they really don't know how to use the new upgrades. They're stumbling like a baby giraffe, not knowing what to do with all this new stuff. And so, again, they fail. So who does Zib call in? Nex and Evo, baby. Because Nex and Evo were created already with the new upgrades. So they were basically born with the new upgrades. And so that's how they come in, help stop Firelord. And Firelord eventually is, like, ran over by, like, a truck or something. Guess who's driving the truck? Surge. He's like, guys, I escaped. I'm okay. Firelord is defeated. Oh, wait, pause. Before I say he's defeated, during the fight, Firelord gives this really, like, sad exposition that he was, like, a blue-collar worker in the mines, and he was exposed to, like, some, like, radiation or, like, some mineral or crystal or something, because that's what it always is in this show, that makes him addicted to power sources. Like, he's addicted to fuel. Like, he doesn't want to be a bad guy, but he's, like, addicted to this stuff, and he, like, needs it. And so that's his tragic backstory. Anyway, he's going to the slammer, and our heroes save the day, and that's episode 5. Episodes 6 and 7 were released together as a part 1 and 2, titled Savage Planet. Savage Planet was released as its own little movie, like a 40-minute long movie, 5 months after episode 5. So now it's been another 5 months, and here's the next Hero Factory saga. We don't actually start with any of our familiar faces. We start with a new hero. You might be wondering, well, didn't they just introduce 2 new ones last episode? Yeah, but we gotta sell more toys here. So we got Rocka. He's the new rookie. And Rocka's all by himself when he receives a distress call from the planet Quatros. He receives a distress call from the planet Quatros by none other than a man named Aldous Witch, as in, like, Aldous Dumbledore. I'm pretty sure, like, this has to be a Harry Potter reference because his first name is Aldous and his last name is Witch. But he's a professor. He was actually one of Stormer's old teachers when he was a rookie, and for some reason he's alone on this wild planet, and the planet has been shut down as a nature preserve because this planet is one of the last remaining resources of Quaza, like the Quaza core. So they shut the entire planet down as for natural resources, so no one can steal the Quaza core. But what's Aldous Witch doing on this planet all alone? He needs help. And so Zib is like, wait, don't go alone. Wait for the other heroes to get there. But Rocka's a little headstrong. He's like, nah, I'm going to go and do this distress call and solve the day all by myself. So he goes. Surprise, surprise, he meets this menacing-looking figure, and he gets captured. Uh-oh, so now the other team has to go and save Rocka from this savage planet. But before they go, they need upgrades. But since it's called Savage Planet, and Hero Factory is like a toy line for 99% marketed towards boys, 1% breeze, they have to get animal upgrades, because animal upgrades are cool. I'm just going to read this off my notes. I can't memorize this. Stormer becomes a rhino. Furno becomes an eagle. Stringer becomes a bear. Nex becomes a tiger. And Bulk becomes a wolf. That's right. They're not taking the one person who can speak to animals on this mission to a planet that's solely inhabited by animals. Breeze gets left behind because she's a girl and probably doesn't sell toys. So everyone except Breeze goes to the planet Quatros, and they are met by, he's no longer Aldous Witch. He goes by the Witch Doctor. Pfft. We'll learn his tragic backstory later, but for now, all you need to know is he's evil and he's stealing the Quaza from the planet. And so they need to stop him, but he gets away or something, and they meet back up with Rocka, and they're like, oh, Rocka, you're safe. There is a little bit of tension between Rocka and Furno because Rocka's the new hot rookie on the scene. Not hot in that way, even though I have come across fan art while doing research for this video. But Rocka is like the new kid on the block. He's really good at being a hero, and Furno's a little jealous because they're like, hey, that used to be my thing. They find this teleporter on the planet that will like teleport them closer to where the Witch Doctor is, like stealing the Quaza, but they're unsure if it's safe or not, so they decide to like split off into teams. The teams are as such. Furno leads a team of Stringer and Nex. Is that Evo? No, this is... So Furno leads a team of Stringer and Nex, while Rocka leads a team of Stormer and Bulk. And Stormer's like, this is a good time for you guys to show your leadership skills. So yeah, he does take a back seat as leader and lets the two rookies lead. Rocka's team goes through the teleporter, and Furno's team goes the long way around to see who can reach the Witch Doctor first. But the team who teleported, the teleporter actually somehow, because of science, made them shrink in size. So now they're really small. And they just basically just hang around and do nothing for like the rest of the duration of the episode because they're small. The rest of the episode for Furno and his team they battle two little evil animals here. We have Waspix, who's a wasp, and Scorpio, who's a scorpion. This fight scene goes on for so long. It's just a back and forth of, oh, they have the upper hand. Oh, no, they have the upper hand. And they have the upper hand. But during this whole time, Furno's kind of being a really bad leader, being like, guys, just do your own thing. I'm going to kill Waspix. Now's a good time to mention that the animals actually have these red crystals coming out from them, which enable them to be mind controlled by the Witch Doctor. So as soon as they remove the crystals, they just go back to being normal animals, and they're like, thank you for freeing me. But eventually, they free Waspix. Waspix goes away. Scorpio follows them. They finally meet up with where Witch Doctor is, and Witch Doctor captures the small team because they're small, and he can just put them in a box. And he's like, I'm gonna steal all the Quaza. Here's his tragic backstory. When he was a teacher of Stormers, he always wanted to be a hero. He always wanted to have Quaza Core. But guess what? If you don't have Quaza Core, you're not a hero. And he was never given Quaza Core. And I think he tried to steal it from Hero Factory or something. And then he got banished because he tried to steal it. So now he's just going straight to the source of where it is on the planet and taking it for himself. And so a big fight breaks out with Witch Doctor, during which the small people escape and are able to use the teleporter again to get back to normal size. and Rocka and Furno actually learn to work together, and Furno this time gives up his ego and is like, hey, I found some spare parts laying in this cave. Let me give you an upgrade. Also, Rocka at this point is already in his lion costume, but now he gets upgraded even more. So he's about the same size as the witch doctor. So the two of them scrap, Rocka and the witch doctor, and Stormer's able to take the witch doctor's staff. He breaks it in half. He's like, oh no, my power. And they defeat the witch doctor, all while Furno, this is also a running problem in the episode, is when the quasar is removed from this planet's core, the planet is going to self-destruct, basically. And so they only have a few minutes left before the planet self-destructs. So Furno has to return the quasar to the core, and it's this, suspenseful, like, he has to, like, shoot down the rocket with the quasar in it and get the quasar back in the core. But he does. He saves the day. Rocka saves the day. Stormer saves the day. All of our main heroes' egos are fulfilled. Breeze is still behind because she's a girl. Scorpio is there because he gets freed from the witch doctor's control, and he's like, I'm gonna take my revenge on you. And so he also helps in the fight with witch doctor. But anyway, they defeat witch doctor, and that is the plot of episode 6 and 7, most of the time being of just Furno fighting two bugs. Episodes 8 and 9 are another two-parter episode here. It's titled Breakout, and Breakout came out 7 months after Savage Planet. So if you're a little kid, you have to wait 7 months after Savage Planet to see Breakout, and here's the plot of Breakout. We start with this bad guy, Voltix, getting put in prison. The Hero Factory caught him. But this was his plan the entire time. Because once he's in the Hero Factory jail, amongst with all these other villains, remember that they're in jail too, Voltix somehow, I genuinely cannot explain how he does it, but somehow uses Von Nebula's staff to release all the other prisoners. That's right, Von Nebula is back. His staff is. So if you're thinking Von Nebula is back, just you wait. After months and months of waiting, is he finally back? Is he finally back? You'll have to see. So he uses Von Nebula's staff to somehow just release all the other villains from prison. But not these villains. The villains in the old episodes that we know and love and are like accustomed to. And it would be a good battle to see our established heroes fight our established villains. No, because you should know by now, say it with me, we need to sell toys. So we have... Get ready for all these villains. We have the new villain Jawblade, who is a shark. He escapes. We have our new villain Splitface. He escapes. Our new villain, Speeder Demon, that's right, he has a motorcycle, so that's why I'm using like his toy picture so you can see his motorcycle. His name's not Speeder Demon, his name is Speeda Demon, with an A. And then, of course, we got Toxic Reaper. It's Toxic Reaper. Awesome. So all the villains escape, and now Zib is thrown into like some crisis mode. And basically, he assigns each hero in the Hero Factory to capture one villain. So it's a 1-to-1 ratio. I'm assuming all the unnamed heroes that we just don't see are capturing these guys. Meanwhile, our main boys over here have to capture these new ones who can sell hot toys. And so, here's how the heroes are assigned. Stringer fights Voltix. Furno fights Jawblade. Stormer fights Speeda Demon. Evo fights Toxic Reaper. And Surge fights Splitface. Are we following along here? And basically, the rest of the episode is just intercut between all 5 different fights, where our heroes are losing every single one of them. Also, of course, going into these fights, they need upgrades. So our heroes get upgrades, sell more toys. Breeze, again, not in this episode. She's sitting out. Now, I'm sure Breeze got assigned to like capture maybe one of these guys. We don't see it. The rest of the episode is just them fighting, and they're losing. And you might be wondering, well, where's Rocka? He's the new guy that was introduced in last episode. Shouldn't they want to sell more toys of him? He is in this episode. But when Zib is like, hey, you need to go out there and catch these villains, Rocka is like, I kind of have a suspicious feeling that maybe I should stay here at the Hero Factory. We'll get back to that point in a minute. Because while all of the heroes are gone out of the Hero Factory fighting all these different villains on different planets, that leaves the Hero Factory susceptible to be captured by none other than Black Phantom. Ooh, this was Black Phantom's plan all along, a mysterious villain whose plan was to lure all the heroes out of Hero Factory by releasing all the villains. And once Hero Factory is empty, he can take it over. He has these little like robot bugs that like help him. And now he's taken over Hero Factory and using the Hero Assembly Builder to build evil people. Uh-oh. But you might be wondering, well, doesn't the Quasar core that makes you a hero make you a good guy? Yes. So Zib says he has anti-Quasar. That's right, he has anti-Quasar, which makes bad guys because Quasar makes good guys. This is a one-off line, never mentioned again. Anti-Quasar. To make this worse, Black Phantom is also voiced by Mark Hamill. So you might be thinking, oh, Von Nebula's staff was used to release everyone. Black Phantom has the same voice actor. So somehow there must be a connection between Von Nebula and Black Phantom. No, there isn't. I was like, oh, is Black Phantom secretly like Von Nebula in disguise? Is it some big reveal? Nope, just a completely different villain here to spoil the Hero Factory's fun. Episode 2 picks up with all our heroes fighting these villains, and Rocka is still behind at the Hero Factory, and he's sneaking around avoiding Black Phantom because he's going to get the jump on Black Phantom. But Zib is getting a little curious. He's like, Rocka, like, how do you know all this stuff? Like, how did you know, like, Black Phantom was going to attack, and Rocka's, like, using, like, secret, like, a frequency to talk to Zib. Rocka knows a lot more about the Hero Factory than he should be. Uh-oh, is he working for the other side? We'll get to that point in a minute. But finally, about, like, halfway through episode 2, our heroes finally defeat all of these bad guys, and so then they can go back to Hero Factory and help stop Black Phantom because Rocka sends out a message. He's like, guys, like an evil guy is at Hero Factory. You have to come back. And so all the heroes come back to take on Black Phantom, and Rocka reveals he works for the Hero Recon Team, which is like in the FBI of Hero Factory, or the CIA, some specialized force within the specialized force. I guess maybe like a SEAL Team 6 is a better comparison. But he's secretly been undercover as a rookie, but he's actually the best of the best. Hero Recon Team, more like Hero Retcon Team, because that does not explain any of his actions that he took in Savage Planet. If he was that good of an agent, he would have known not to fly into the Savage Planet all by himself, okay? And he should not have been acting the way he was acting during Savage Planet. Anyway, yeah, he's actually like a super spy and super cool and good now. So Black Phantom at this point is like going through the Hero Assembly Chamber, and he's getting all these upgrades. Oh, he's going to be super evil now and unstoppable. They are able to defeat him by overpowering him and giving him too much power inside the Hero Creation Chamber, or like the Upgrade Chamber, whatever it's called. So they're able to like short circuit him and capture him. Problem solved, right? But at the very end of the episode, Zib realizes that while Black Phantom was in control of the Hero Factory, everything pretty much stayed the same, but he notices one file got sent to an unknown destination. What's in that file? The entire plans to the Hero Factory, like blueprints and everything. So whoever has this file can, in theory, recreate their own Hero Factory and create bad guys instead of heroes. And who receives this mysterious message? this guy. This is the only picture of him. If you can see, he's like black with like red eyes. He hides behind the screen. So he doesn't have a name as of this episode, just some mysterious figure. You'll have to stay tuned to see what happens with this guy, because he has the entire plans to the Hero Factory. Oh yeah, I was gonna say, I remember. It took me until the breakout episode to realize that Daniela Capricorn is voiced by Jennifer Coolidge. I thought this whole time it was just some random voice actor doing a Jennifer Coolidge impression, because first time I heard her, I was like, okay, that kind of sounds like Jennifer Coolidge. But in Breakout, you can really notice those Jennifer Coolidge-isms. She's like, the Hero Factory's under attack. And so, yeah, third celebrity voice, Jennifer Coolidge as this random reporter. Episode 10, Brain Attack, was released in January 2013, a whole 9 months after Breakout. 9 months of this cliffhanger. Who is this bad guy? Well, we finally get to see him again at the beginning of this episode, as he sends out his fleet of little brain monster aliens. They're just referred to as brains. I'll put up a picture here. Basically, they're little brains that scurry around, and if they attach themselves to your head, then they like overrun you, and you're evil now. So he sends all these brains to the planet the heroes are on. And these brains infect all the animals on the planet, and all the animals start heading towards Hero Factory. And so Zib's like, we got a problem. And they're like, how many animals are there? And then it's over 1,000. It's like in the thousands. That's how many animals. Also, back to the animals thing I was talking about like way earlier. I thought these were going to be like just like villains, because Jawblade is a shark, but he's like a sentient one, and he's like a villain. But then when a regular shark gets taken over by a brain, all the pictures on the screen right now, these are animals, not sentient robots, just animals in this universe. And so, of course, they have to work together and fight the animals. But how do they do that? With upgrades. More toys, more toys, more toys. But with these upgrades, it makes these heroes borderline unrecognizable. They now have the same color gray torso, and their main colors, like Furno, for example, he has a gray torso, and then his main color is red, and so he has red arms and red legs. So everyone's main color is now just their arms and legs, and everyone has the same colored torso. Some of these heroes get a different head color. It's pretty hard to keep track of who's who now. But guess what? Our girl Breeze is finally back, because it's the animal episode, and they're like, Breeze, can't you talk to animals? And she's like, well, these animals are mind controlled, so no. Great job, Breeze. And so all the heroes have to head out into the city to defeat these animals. But Furno is like, hey, Surge, why don't you stay back and guard the Hero Factory? And he's like, no, I want to get out there and have some action. And he's like, shut up and listen to me. I'm basically your leader now, so you're going to stay back. And Surge is like, okay, I guess. So everyone heads out to fight these animals, except for Surge. He stays behind. So after minutes and minutes and minutes of fighting, they finally discover how to remove the brain from the animal. You have to hit the brain on the red spikes. And so they do that, and they're starting to help all the animals be free, but there's just thousands of them. And so they can't, they're just overwhelmed. They don't know what to do. Meanwhile, back at the Hero Factory, Surge is standing guard, but he gets infected by the brains. The brain starts surrounding him, and eventually he is taken over. And then once he's taken over, he goes inside Hero Factory and makes a bunch of evil robots. And so all our heroes have to go back to Hero Factory to stop evil Surge and his army of evil robots. Breeze and Surge fight, and Breeze has the cliche moment of, I don't want to hurt you. This isn't you. You're not like this. I know the real Surge is deep down in there somewhere, and he wouldn't want this to happen. And so they keep fighting, and eventually Breeze gets the brain off of Surge, and they hit the stop button. They stop all the evil robots. All the animals are saved. Yay, we saved the day. This evil guy's plan is thwarted. And that's the episode. But I do have a problem to pick with this episode. Let me level with you guys here. This, by far, is just the worst episode. Point blank, period. The dialogue in this is somehow leagues worse than all the dialogue in every other episode. But I get it. It's a kids show. And they just want to sell toys. And sometimes in kids shows that the dialogue has to be heavy-handed to explain things to the kids. But in this episode, they're just straight up advertising the toys. They're like, wow, I'm glad my new fire-resistant shield was able to stop that blast. Wow, I'm so thankful I have this new weapon that can cut through these enemies. And it's just so heavy-handed.
Zed, have I thanked you for my new tornado staff yet?
You're welcome, Evo.
My new fire shield's absorbing this flame just fine.
Good thing I have this razor saw shield.
And the dialogue's not even the worst part. I mentioned again how the upgrades made them look so bad. It's like they lost all identity and character because they're all gray now. And for some reason, this episode has just weird pop culture references. When Surge is getting attacked by brains, he becomes Michael Jackson.
Well, have a taste of my lightning blades! Ow! Ow, 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 ow!
And in another reference, Bulk, when he's fighting the army of evil robots, he says, Bulk smash. It's like it can't get any worse. Or can it? Episode 11. Invasion from Below, which was released a full year after Brain Attack. Let's talk about it. Invasion from Below was released in January 2014, a full year after Brain Attack. So if you're wondering who is this guy, what are his plans, you had to wait a full year. Here's the thing. This episode was created by an entirely different studio, different animation, and all new voice actors. Every single person is a new voice actor, which can lead to some pretty comical moments. Like somehow Furno's voice got way deeper.
The vortex is pulling us in like a gravitational force.
I won't miss those crawlers. Those cocoons were freaky.
But the funniest one of all is Surge now has an Australian accent.
Rocka, quit messing around and come aboard. My battle machine is a combiner built for two. Here, grab my hand.
You may have noticed from those clips that they look so much different. They have like these weird like anime eyes now, I guess, which makes them more expressive, but they look completely different. If you're a Hero Factory fan, you probably know where I'm going with this. From my research, this episode is composed of cutscenes from a video game of the same title, a mobile app called Hero Factory Invasion from Below, and these are just cutscenes. The final episode of this show is video game cutscenes with new voice actors and a new studio behind it. And here's the plot of the episode. So basically, in the city, they're gonna make a new subway system. So they're drilling underground, but the workers go missing. So the heroes go and investigate this, and they realize, there are just a bunch of evil animals living underground. That's right, the villains in this episode are just animals. They have no motivation. It's just wild animals that they have to fight off. And that's what you do in the video game, is just you hit the buttons on your little iPod Touch and you defeat the animals, and there's no rhyme or reason for any of these characters to be doing anything. It's just, let's fight the wild animals. And eventually they fight enough wild animals. Oh, did I mention that they have to build more stuff? They get like these exosuits to help them sell more toys. Eventually, after like near the end of the episode, they get to the mother, who's like the mom of all the animals. Oh, hey, Breeze can talk to animals, and she's like, hey, since we disturbed their habitat by drilling underground, the animals are mad at us. And so they make a little deal. They're like, hey, we'll stop drilling underground if you stop attacking us. And the mom's like, okay, fine. But forget who, accidentally steps on a gun. That's right, they have guns now. Usually they just had like arm blasters, but now they have straight up guns. Someone steps on a gun, fires it off, and makes the mom mad again, which leads to another like super long fight scene of about a misunderstanding. And then they learn not to drill underground. What a environmentalist message. And I think Surge is the one that says, it's okay, we can just build a bridge over the city, which is even more efficient. How is a bridge better for transportation than a public transport system of underground trains? And the episode ends with them all flying away in their little ship, and they're like, I'm glad we stopped that invasion. And it turns out, ooh, there's still a cocoon hidden on board. Cut to black. That's the end of the entire Hero Factory series. The Hero Factory line ended in 2014. No more toys, no more episodes. And you might be thinking, who is this guy? Well, guess what? He doesn't have a name. On the Hero Factory Wikipedia, he's known as unnamed villain. That's right, the guy who orchestrated the entire 2-episode arc of Breakout and the guy who also did Brain Attack is just an unnamed villain. He's an unnamed villain, and guess what? He has the plans to rebuild the entire Hero Factory, but with villains. And he just doesn't do it. Is he working with Von Nebula? Is Von Nebula free? They have the same voice actor as Black Phantom. Oh, what about his staff? He has a black hole staff that's not used. What started as a pretty decent, incompetent series about a rookie learning the ropes from his mentor devolved into this. Every episode follows the same formula. There's a big attack, the heroes lose, they regroup, and then fight again, and the heroes win. That's every episode. Some of them you have a semblance of character stuff, like how Stormer is harsh towards Furno, but then warms up to him. Or the competitiveness between Furno and Rocka, but it turns out Rocka is just a secret agent this whole time, so it doesn't matter. There's a semblance of some good character moments in here. I think it would have been really interesting for Stormer to deal with not being the best anymore. His protege, Furno, beats him, and now he's the best in the Hero Factory, and Stormer has to cope with maybe retirement. He's not the best anymore. He's an old man now. But now once Furno's the best, here's the new kid Rocka on the block. And guess what? He's doing the same thing that Furno did to Stormer. And that's like a Cars 3 sort of arc. Just something. But instead, all these heroes come and go. Nex and Evo are only there for one episode. I mean, I get they are in more than one episode, but it's like, why introduce 2 new ones if you're going to introduce a third one next time? Then there's Bulk and Stringer, who didn't even do anything. And then they can't even balance the first 2 rookies that they introduced in the first episode. But guess what? We got to sell more toys. This TV show was purely created to sell toys and show kids, hey, look at all the cool things your toys can do. A few months later, hey, look, we upgraded your toys. These are just 22-minute long commercials. I understand that. But if they can milk Ninjago for over 10 seasons, you think they can give these guys decent 10-episode story structure that fulfills something? And now I'm cursed with the burden of maturity and growing up, and I can see through this now. It's all just one big commercial, and they don't care about story or characters. They're just trying to get your money. But I'll tell you what, while I was rewatching this whole series, there were a few moments that I was a kid again. That really got to me. And it's still in there. And hopefully you guys can feel that too. And if you like video structures like this where I point to the wall and explain stuff, let me know what TV show you want to see next in the comments below. And if you want more, I did a video about the Silver Surfer TV show that's just like this one, so check it out. I'll see you guys next time.